All right, guys, so I've been having trouble with our Honda EU3000 IS inverter generator. It's been driving me nuts. We put in a different spark plug, a little bit hotter spark plug. I talked about that in our last video, and I'm just about ready to throw this thing in the trash. It's only 3 years old and I can't stand it. It feels like it's building up a lot of carbon. It starts idling terribly. I take the spark plug out, I clean it. So I called, talked to a friend, started asking him his opinion on different generators. I love Honda, I love what they've done, but this one in particular, it's got so many EPA standards on it that it's just about ready to drive me nuts. So he said, have you cleaned the spark arrestor? I said no. So I proceeded to do that, and I'll show you how to do that in this video. It's pretty simple. If you know your way with some end wrenches and some sockets, I think you can do it fairly simply. All right, let's get after it. So first you're going to take these 4 cap nuts off. On the 4 corners of this plastic shroud, you'll need a 10mm socket for those. And then the plastic end cap should pop right off of there. Next, you'll need a 10mm socket or an end wrench to take 4 bolts off of the exhaust grate. They're just on these tabs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that grate should pop right off of there. Next, you'll need a 12mm socket to take the 4 bolts off that hold the main handle for the generator. I just left the bolts in place and I slid that handle right out of there. Alright, next, right at the bottom is a thin metal plate held on by 4 bolts. Those are 10mm as well. You'll have to pop that off to get the insulation sound dampening cover off. Once you get the 4 bolts out, that should pop right off. Alright, so that sound dampening cover should pop right off, but be careful. I had problems on the lower left-hand corner. It was pretty tight. Just be careful not to rip it. Slowly work it off and it should come right out of there. Alright, so now we have access to the muffler. You're going to need a 12mm end wrench to take these 2 nuts off on the head. And then over on the other side, there's a 10mm nut and bolt. There's 2 washers in the middle, so watch that you don't lose those. Alright, so now you're going to slowly shimmy the muffler off of the 2 bolt studs coming from the head. Lay it on its end. Be careful, there is a gasket on the head there. You're going to get an 8mm socket and take 1, 2, and 3 bolts out to get that little tailpipe off of there. Alright, set that little tailpipe aside, and the part that the spark arrestor is in stays on the muffler. I need a little pry tool to pop my spark arrestor out. Once I got it out, I pulled it out. You can see how corroded it was. Clean it up with a wire brush really good. Pop it back in, put everything back together, and you should be good to go. I've got the generator back in its box. I'm going to try and start the generator now that I have cleaned the spark arrestor. Let's try it. That was pretty simple. I did pull the choke to start it. It's on eco mode. Let me flip it off of eco mode. I tell you what, guys, I am not joking you. I have not heard this thing idle that smoothly and that cleanly since we first bought it. Alright, so there you go. That spark arrestor was the key. If you're struggling with the spark plug or the idling or anything else, check that spark arrestor, guys. Get it clean. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already. And we'll see you in the next video.
Bramante Brothers.